This video is sponsored by Skillshare. When a song is based on a sample of another song, it's not always that obvious, and often the new song can become a lot more famous than the original sample. So today we're going to look at 14 songs you may not have known are based on samples. Did you know that Radiohead's track Idiotek from their 2000 album Kid A features two samples lifted from an obscure 1975 album called First Recordings Electronic Music Winners? Idiotek's first sample is taken from the track Short Piece by Arthur Krieger. And this is immediately followed by a different sample, this time from the piece Mild und Leise by Polanski. Polanski said this of Radiohead's use of his work: "Radiohead very graciously asked permission and I gave it. I really liked what they did with the sample. It is quite imaginative and inventive." The 1999 hit Steal My Sunshine by Canadian band Len is built on a sample of the 1976 disco track More More More, made famous by Andrea True Connection. More 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 was written and produced by American songwriter Greg Diamond, who sadly passed away only a couple of months before Steal My Sunshine was released. Did you know Dua Lipa's 2020 track Love Again is based on a sample of the opening horns motif from Lou Stone's 1933 recording of My Woman? Dua Lipa and the three other co-writers on the track may have been inspired to use this sample by an earlier hit song that had used the same sample, Your Woman by White Town, which was a #1 hit in the UK back in 1997. Samples are typically taken from other songs, but the starting point for Gorillaz' breakout single Clint Eastwood was actually a sample of a preset accompaniment pattern on the Suzuki Omnichord called Rock 1. As Damon Albarn demonstrates in this clip, although this Rock 1 accompaniment pattern was seemingly recreated rather than directly sampled, the distinctive piano riff and even the drum pattern for Clint Eastwood are lifted note for note from this factory preset of the Omnichord Om 300.
It just came like that.
That's it, that's the preset. It's the Rock 1 preset. But it gets even more.
Wholesale.
That's it.
Wholesale.
That's the whole
Wholesale.
song. Finally, someone let me out of my cage.
See if you can guess which 2000s hip-hop track sampled the song Indian Sunset by Elton John.
Those who wish to follow me.
It was of course used in Tupac's 2005 posthumous hit Ghetto Gospel.
Ghetto gospel, I welcome with my hands.
Having been tragically killed back in 1996, Tupac's vocal was remixed by Eminem for the 2004 posthumous album Loyal to the Game. Eminem was quite resourceful in splicing up the Elton John song to create a new chorus hook fit for the Tupac song. For example, in Ghetto Gospel, at the end of the chorus we get Elton singing "And peace to this young warrior without the sound of guns."
And peace to this young warrior without the sound of guns.
But Elton doesn't actually sing that exact lyric in the original song. Eminem has spliced together two different fragments from Indian Sunset to create this lyric. The "and peace to this young warrior" line comes from right at the end of Indian Sunset.
And peace to this young warrior comes.
And the "without the sound of guns" line comes from about 15 seconds earlier in the track. and is part of a completely different sentence.
Buffaloes graze in clover fields without the sound of guns.
Elton was very impressed by Eminem's remix of this track. There's a new Tupac album which Eminem has produced. It samples one of my old songs, Indian Sunset, off Madman Across the Water. It's called Ghetto Gospel. How he managed to meld that with Tupac, I'll never know, it's just genius. A few years later, another Elton John song would provide the sample for a different hip-hop track. Good Morning by Kanye West is based on a sample from Elton's 1975 song, Someone Save My Life Tonight.
Good morning.
Kanye West has used a wide range of samples across his back catalogue, drawn from an eclectic range of music. For example, Kanye's 2010 track Power twice samples the classic British prog rock track 21st Century Schizoid Man by King Crimson. We can hear the King Crimson song most prominently where Kanye has used the sample as the main hook of Power. The other sample of the King Crimson song in Power is more subtle. Later in Power, we hear a repeating distorted vocal sample from 21st Century Schizoid Man, sort of swirling around as Kanye raps on top. With this track, Kanye has combined the sample of British late 60s prog rock with two other samples. The main sample here is lifted from the song Afro America, a 1978 track by Afro-funk group Continent No. 6.
Afro Mary Mary, Afro America will be my home. Hey, hey,
And on top of this, the third sample we have here is the drum groove from an obscure cover of It's Your Thing by the Isley Brothers, performed by the Cold Grits.
One man should have all that power. The clock's ticking, I just count the hours.
Coldplay have used samples on a handful of their songs. One of their earliest uses of sampling was on their 2012 track, Princess of China. For this track, they sampled the song Tuck by Icelandic post-rock band Sigur Rós. The Sigur Rós sample serves to provide an ambient backdrop for the Coldplay song and can be heard most clearly at the start of the track. Another Coldplay track to feature a sample is their 2017 song Miracle's Someone Special. This time, no, it's not a musical sample, but instead a sample of dialogue from a film, namely a line from the 1985 classic Back to the Future.
Strong.
I mean, what if they say I'm no good? What if they say, get out of here, kid, you got no future?
Now you can run and just see it right.
I mean, what if they say I'm no good? What if they say, get out of here, kid, you got no future? I mean, I just don't think I can take that kind of rejection.
Sampling is a musical technique that many are quick to disparage as lazy or cheap, but sampling is a genuine skill that can be quite difficult to master. Now, just like many other musical skills, sampling is something that you can develop using Skillshare. Skillshare offers thousands of classes on a whole range of skills, including many different musical skills like sampling. A class that I definitely want to check out is Jacob Collier's exclusive Skillshare class on the fundamentals of music making. Learning a new skill is really an investment in yourself, so why not this summer pick up a new skill or hobby? And it's not just music classes that Skillshare offers. You can develop your skills in animation, creative writing, filmmaking, graphic design, or even develop your skills in marketing or productivity. So if you would like to start developing your skills, the first 500 people to use the link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. In one of my previous videos on sampling, we looked at MIA's track Paper Planes, which samples the song Straight to Hell by British punk legends The Clash. The Clash have been sampled many times by a wide range of artists. For example, Garbage's 1995 track Stupid Girl lifts the opening drum groove from Train in Vain by The Clash and uses it as the main drum beat throughout the track. Due to the use of this drum sample, Joe Strummer and Mick Jones of The Clash have songwriting credits on Stupid Girl by Garbage, despite the fact that it was actually drummer Topper Headon who performed and presumably wrote the drum part that was sampled. Stupid Girl by Garbage actually contains another, more subtle sample, this time from R.E.M. The brief snare roll we hear at this moment in Stupid Girl is actually sampled from R.E.M.'s 1988 track Orange Crush.
Oh, you had it wasted.
Obviously, usually, if you wanted a snare drum roll like this, the drummer would just perform it, but as the main drum beat for Stupid Girl is the sample from the Clash song, to add a variation to the beat like a snare roll, Garbage wound up sampling it from elsewhere, namely this R.E.M. track. Another track that samples a Clash song is Beat International's 1990 hit, Dub Be Good To Me. Firstly, Dub Be Good To Me is actually a cover of the SOS Band's 1983 song Just Be Good To Me.
I don't care about your other girls, just be good to me. I don't care about your other girls, just be good to me.
But beyond changing the word just to dub, Dub Be Good To Me is also built on a sample of the 1979 song The Guns of Brixton by The Clash. Dub Be Good To Me was produced by Norman Cook, otherwise known as Fatboy Slim. And if you know anything about Fatboy Slim, it will be that he uses a lot of samples, and Dub Be Good To Me is no exception to this. Beyond the Clash sample, Dub Be Good To Me features at least 5 other pieces of music, including a slowed down sample of The Man with the Harmonica from Ennio Morricone's score for the 1968 spaghetti western Once Upon a Time in the West. And perhaps the most unusual sample Norman Cook has used here on Dub Be Good To Me was this vocal sample from the track A Little Soulful Tune by American blues musician Taj Mahal. And for our last example, I'm going to play you the song that was sampled and see if you can guess what song sampled it. That was Jezebel by Shirley Bassey, a cover of a song by Italian prog rock band Delirium that Bassey included on her 1972 album And I Love You So. Well, if you did recognise that track, it's most likely because it was used as the foundation of Public Enemy's 2007 track Harder Than You Think.
Well, yo, right now, kick the bass for them brothers and let them know what goes on. Rolling stones of the record, not bragging. Look bigger than Jagger.
So that was 14 songs that you probably knew but didn't know where the sample had come from. If you can think of any other examples of famous songs that feature samples, then do let me know in the comments down below.